All right, welcome friends. So happy to see you. Thanks for gathering today. So we're gonna start in legs up the wall, a nice place to feel into our yin nervous system and perhaps also help us cool down today. So you're welcome to place a prop underneath your hips at the wall or a prop underneath your head. You can also elevate your legs on a chair or an ottoman or anything else that you have. So you can kind of play with the distance your legs are apart from one another. Feel your back, all of the joints in your shoulders and hips resting towards the earth. If you want a little bit of heart opening here, chest opening and shoulder opening, you could stretch your arms behind you. Or if you want a little bit more grounding sensation, you might rest your hands on your belly or on the floor near your hips. And then see if it would help you soften a bit through your legs if you kind of clock your feet out a bit. So feeling your hips, or rather your legs, externally rotate. So there's like a little flopping open happening. And your body might want a few clearing breaths to arrive. And without forcing, see if your body has any areas that it can naturally let go. So any natural releases that can happen. And so our Monday yin practice has been inspired by the moon archetype. And to me, some of the teachings of the moon really center self-trust, because so much of the moon's symbolism is around change, cycles, and ultimately the unknown, the wild unknown that is life, that is nature. And so we can think of the moon almost as like that step into the dark forest, the journey ahead that we don't necessarily want to take, we don't necessarily feel confident taking, but we know that we need to take the next step and the next step. And so in those spaces of feeling unconfident or feeling unclear, The moon reminds us that we have an opportunity to practice self-trust. And we humans don't necessarily like that, right? We like what is predictable. And so I feel like this is probably one of the most challenging things that we can experience as humans is building that self-trust. And so if you are someone that is struggling with self-trust in any way right now in your life, and I think collectively we all are in these times, I just want to honor you because I know how utterly challenging it is. And I know I continue to go in kind of waves with self-trust myself. And so you might reflect here, asking yourself, how does my practice help me strengthen trust with myself? How does my practice help me cultivate that inner confidence? That inner listening. And something I've been reflecting on is how our breath can be an embodiment of trust. Because we don't know when or how our next breath is going to come to us, or if it's going to come to us. We just don't know, but we can still have faith that our next breath will be there and the next one after that. And that's really our only option, is to have faith that it will come. And so as you breathe here, can you let your breath be natural? And can you sense the embodied feeling of breathing? And how does the embodied feeling of breath offer you a sense of trust in this moment? That you are here, you are alive, you are powerful, you are capable and worthy of moving in the direction of your most authentic truth. You are worthy of having a deep, intimate, trusting relationship with yourself. And so we dedicate this practice to that relationship, reminding ourselves that we are the oracle. We are the wisdom and power that we seek. And so if at any point there is a modification or a variation you want to explore, or something that you want to skip or opt out of, please listen to yourself, your body, your inner guide. Really practicing this intention of self-trust. So with that, if there's some intuitive movement that is calling to you, you can start to explore that now. Shifting around with your arms or your legs. Eventually, we're gonna transition into a figure 4 at the wall. So you can bend your knees and just kind of feel into your hips. I'm gonna come off of the prop that's under my low back. You can too, if that would feel better for you. And then the straighter your legs are, the more space that you'll have to come into this shape. So if you're really open in your hips, you might need to bend your knees a bit more. And if you're kind of tight in your hips, lengthen your legs a bit more to come into this stretch. We'll take the left ankle over the right thigh. And you can use your hands to rest on your thighs, making a little shelf there, a little support. And then make any adjustments that you need to start to feel for your stretch. The Goldilocks amount of stretch that helps you stay present. Not too much to where it's stressful, and not too little to where you might kind of zone out. So just enough to stay right here with your breath. And so a lot of times for me, a resource for me to stay present in that Goldilocks zone is to find a little sway. So I'm just rocking my legs gently side to side to have a little bit more fluid sensation. You can see if that works for you. Or continue to notice what's present for you in stillness. And then you can always hug your right thigh a little closer, reaching to the back of your thigh to hug that 4 shape toward you. Upper body is still grounded. One more breath. And then slow release. Place your right foot on the wall. If it's away from the wall, unravel that left foot. And then see what would feel good between sides. I'm gonna find a little diamond shape with my legs. You might want to hug your knees towards your chest, finding Apanasana. From here, we'll place the feet back on the wall or on your ottoman or chair and start to set up for the other side. Easing into your shape. The slower we go, the more that we can sense and listen. So the more likely we are to be able to trust our choices, our actions. Continue to commune with your breath. Bringing mind and body together. Full presence. Good, releasing slowly, feet come back to the wall. Find any movement here, any intuitive movement that you need. And if you don't know, it's okay to just pause and see what might be speaking to you. See what might come through. And then over the course of the next couple of breaths, you can start to roll to one side. We'll prepare to transition into a table, but maybe you want to rest in your fetal pose for a few breaths. And then we'll take the top hand, press it into the floor to start to lift your torso and come on to hands and knees. We'll take a few rounds of cow and cat here. So Feel stable in your hands by spreading your fingers. Start to lower your belly towards the earth. Open your heart forward towards the front of your mat. Lifting your tailbone, maybe lifting your gaze. And then start to arch your back as you tuck your tailbone, softening through your neck and jaw. Scoop your heart forward for cow. And arch, or rather, hollow your back for cat. A few rounds with your breath. You can go nice and slow, or maybe you want to move breath to movement. Trusting your own pace. The guidance of your body and your breath working together. We'll meet together in neutral to start to walk our hands forward. So you can take one paw print forward and then the other. So you start to find your puppy. So arms are outstretched, heart is lowering towards the earth. You can rest your forehead on your mat or on a block. And then you can see about sending your hips back towards your heels, just in that direction to help lengthen your spine, bringing a bit more space there in between each backbone. Spacious under your armpits and side body. Good, and then pass back through your table, and we'll take another round of cow and cat to help neutralize the spine. Good, from there you can come to your seat. We'll set up for some folding and hip opening here. So I've got a cushion to sit on and a bolster to support my upper body. So feel your sitting bones ground into the earth or into your pillow. And you can outstretch your left leg, coming into a one-legged fold here. You can rest your bolster inside of that long leg or on top of it. Notice which would feel more comfy for your body. And then you can just start to reach your arms forward towards your left toes and hollow your back, thinking of that cat stretch. Really seeing the weight of your head. And if at any point you feel like you don't need that bolster or the prop, you can always remove them. Again, feeling for your Goldilocks stretch, your zone. And only you can know what that is. So practicing listening to yourself. Opening up to your embodied wisdom. And then perhaps sensing what that's like in your body. What does it feel like to be in a trusting relationship with your body? And so the more that we can know what that feels like, the more that we can orient to that when we're not feeling trust. Again, you always have the option to find a little rock if that helps you. A few more breaths. Good. Inhale can help to bring you upright, floating up out of the fold, sitting tall for a moment. Noticing the shift. Good. And then we're going to come into a little cradle position. So walk your left foot towards you. Start to hook your forearms underneath your left shin. If you can't quite reach your shin, that's okay. You can rest it on a bolster. And if that feels like too much, you can even just come into a cross-legged position. So notice the stretch here. You might be feeling it in your hip. Can you notice where in your hip that is? And I'm just rocking back and forth a bit and rocking my shin side to side, left to right. Good. From here, lower that top shin onto your bottom shin. So we're gonna come into fire log pose. So your shins are stacking. You can always place a prop in between the top knee and bottom foot. And if this is just too much for your hips or your knees, you can find a similar stretch in your seat. Left leg is in front, and you can kind of fold forward into a really gentle forward fold. If you're in the fire log variation, see what you need in your upper body. So sometimes it feels good to lean back. That can help to let some space come to your hip flexors and soften through the legs. So you can kind of feel the legs move downward as you lean your upper body back. You can stay upright, or you can hinge forward any amount. And maybe you want to play with some different things today just to see what kind of communication you receive from yourself. So wherever you are, if you tend to have tighter hips, if this type of shape isn't super fun or comfortable, see if you can soften in your outer body first. So like in your face, in your fingers and shoulders, in your toes. And then see if that might help to bring some softness to your hips or anywhere else that's feeling particularly tight here. So starting with what's doable. And then slow release as you're ready, coming into a neutral spine. And then to release either of those shapes, you can lean back and let your feet come on the floor. You might swoosh your knees side to side or outstretch your legs. Getting a little circulation moving. And then we'll take our fold on the other side. So ground through your hips, ground through your sitting bones. This time, right leg extends. Place your prop in front of you if you're using it. And then just start to drape the upper body forward and down, letting your spine cascade towards your prop or towards your leg. Checking in with what your body has to say. Checking in with your breath. Last breath here. Let your inhale bring you up. Feel that upward energy and lift. And then feel the stability of your pelvis and hips. Walk your long leg towards you and start to take that little cradle position of your shin. Or again, you can rest your shin on a bolster or on the floor. I like to interlace my hands to get a little leverage. And then see about rocking for a few breaths or feeling for any other expressions here. Staying attuned to the embodied feeling of breathing and how that might support you in sensing embodied trust. Good. Easily start to bring that top shin down, adjusting your legs as needed for your fire log or your fold. Take that prop underneath your top knee. And then see what your upper body wants to do here. If you want to lean back a bit or lean forward, or a combination of the two. Another breath. another. Begin your release, your exit nice and slow. You can lean back and let your feet come to the floor again for your windshield wipers, or outstretch your legs. You can shake your legs. Good, and then we'll come onto our backs. We're gonna come into a supported fish pose. So a few ways to come into your fish. You can use blocks. Sometimes I feel like the blocks can help to have more of a chiropractic adjustment to the spine. So if you want a bit more opening, you can take your blocks, kind of set up like a T. So one block lengthwise on the mat, and that one can rest right in between your shoulder blades, supporting kind of that entire thoracic area of your spine. And then you can use the other block underneath your head. Some people prefer the block under the shoulder blades to be turned the other way though. So it just depends on your body. I like it lengthwise because I feel like it helps me wrap my shoulder blades around it. But if that feels like too much, you might like the other option. If the blocks feel too hard for you today, if that's too much, you can take a cushion underneath your middle back, or a flat or rolled up blanket. And maybe you don't need any prop underneath your spine. Just lying flat on your back and reaching your arms behind you or across your chest might feel good for you. So you can see which of those options is suiting you today, or maybe you make your own variation. So as you set up, try to move slow. Try to ease into it in a way that helps you stay connected and open and observant. Feel each new breath enter your body and leaving your body. An act of trust in yourself, an act of trust in your body, an act of trust with a higher power. With your breath, start to locate your elbows and press your elbows next to you to start to reach for your legs. You can use the support of your legs to lift away from your props. If you're flat on your back, you can just stay there. Take your time coming out of your heart opener. And then same thing, using the support of your legs, you can return to your back flat on the floor. We'll come reclined to move into a twist. So you can outstretch your arms here in a T shape or cactus arms. And then lift your feet off the floor. Knees move over to the right. Let your left shoulder come off of the earth if that helps you acclimate to this direction facing your right knees. And then just over time, real slow, real gentle, let that left shoulder, as it's ready, come down, grounding back towards the earth. If you're feeling any pulling in your low back space, you can take a prop between your knees. The bigger the prop, the more support it will offer your low back. A few more breath cycles. And let your breath gently bring you back through center. Pausing there briefly and letting your body, your breath take you to the other side. Release back onto your back. And then you can outstretch here, setting up for your final rest. Just like we did in our waterfall pose, legs up the wall pose, you can let your feet flop open, softening through your legs, your toes, your feet. Letting hips be heavy, shoulders be heavy. As you trust in the support of gravity holding you here to the earth. Softening into this space that you've cultivated for yourself. Receive your breath. Receiving this new moment. And all that was gifted to you in your practice. Perhaps noticing any clarity or perspective that was offered to you. And then you can start to find some mini stretches, little movements to start to release. And then maybe draw your knees toward you to roll to either side. Pausing here for a sacred moment of reverence and gratitude to you for taking this time, showing up for yourself. Gratitude for the ancient practice of yoga and all of its teachings. And then we'll rise up together in a seat. And so here, as we sit together to bring our practice to a close, may we remember that though the practice of self-trust is an inner practice, we are never alone on our journey. And so may we together continue to trust in the direction of our most authentic truth. To faith in ourselves and one another. Thank you all so much. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. So lovely, as always, to practice with you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day and an amazing week ahead. I'm sending you lots of love. Thank you.